All right, here we are back at ya with another CLM set of Coors Light on this Monday. We're doing Spotted Cow. Back to the old trusty. So we're talking today about CrossFit teens, CrossFit athletes. Should you do CrossFit as a teen? Should you not do CrossFit as a teen? And when and why and how and who should be doing it?
Let's get into some CrossFit teens. A couple things we want to start with is we're going to go through what it's like. We're going to go through some different scenarios of when it's good to do CrossFit as a teen and maybe when it's not. You know, we started young, but going back and thinking if you started at 14 or 15 or something even younger than that, where would we be at today and how would our lives change?
Yeah,
you know,
you can't tell that by any means. You know, honestly, maybe I would have gotten super burnt out and hated CrossFit, and or had a shoulder injury because my shoulder was flinging around and I couldn't control it that young. You know, so that's kind of the sides that we want to play here today. The biggest thing though is understanding and having complete control of your limbs, your body. Like if you don't know where your body's at in space, you can't be doing a clean and jerk with a barbell or something like that. You know?
And I can even tell you this, and maybe super light, don't get me wrong, but even I can tell you this, if I started CrossFit when I was 15, it wouldn't have went well. Number one, I didn't have the discipline to listen to a coach about technique and technical lifts. And number two, I didn't have the strength to really be lifting anything. Could you have gained strength? Sure, of course you could have. But I don't think I would have had the ability to actually listen and put in enough time to where I would have been safe doing it.
Sure.
That's just my opinion at the age of 15.
When I was in high school, that was where I really started to like catapult my strength stuff, I guess, for football lifting. We did a lot of like powerlifting stuff and like strength stuff. And had I not had that like strength base, I think I really would have been in trouble in the CrossFit world. I wouldn't have had that control that I would like to talk about that I would have been lacking, and that would have been made me a different athlete. Probably a worse one.
It's actually cool you say that because mine was the opposite. I never lifted a damn. I lifted some on my own, the beauty muscles type of thing, because I didn't even know what really lifting was much back then. But a back squat, my bench press, I remember my senior year, I hit a 275 or 285 pound bench press for a 1 rep. My 1 rep max back squat was 255. This is no joke, and I'm sure it wasn't below parallel or anywhere near.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's where I didn't care. I didn't even know about it. So I didn't even get strong until my early to mid-20s after doing CrossFit for a few years.
Yeah, I got to watch some of that of you getting stronger, actually.
So I mean, and the steroids help, too.
Yeah, the big ones. Yeah, the good
big
ones.
Big horse pills.
Yeah. All right, so let's ask the question. Who is the teen athlete that should be doing CrossFit? Colin, what do you think?
My opinion is I think the teen athlete that should be doing CrossFit is the one who honestly wants to do CrossFit. You've got to, number one, want to do it, and number two, you've got to realize that you may have to stop for one of your sports that should trump whatever you're doing in the CrossFit gym.
Exactly. I love the way that you phrase that. It should be a supplemental strength, or however you want to call it. Yeah, a supplemental program, sports specific to what you're doing. If you play baseball, utilize that as something that can generate hip strength or power or speed through the middle or something like that. Like, it needs to be sports specific. I know you've done baseball athletes here, you've done volleyball athletes here.
Well, actually, a lot of sports specific.
A lot of sports specific stuff. So it should be supplemental, in my complete opinion.
Well, and I agree, and I would say that if I'm playing a little bit of devil's advocate here, I would say that I agree with that 100%. But if you're an athlete, if you're a person that just doesn't like football, baseball, or whatever, and let's say somehow you like CrossFit, which typically those people like the same things. But anyways, you like CrossFit more, and that's what you decide to go into. I am totally fine with that. But understand, you still, one thing I see that's very important is that you still need to get out to your school dances. You still need to get out to your friends' baseball games, your football games. You still need to go, have some fun. But you need to go get into some trouble with your friends, with your normal age friends. You do not need to be in class with your 20, 30, and 40-year-olds hanging out.
I was just going to say,
that is an issue.
The average age in a CrossFit gym is, what do you think, 30s and 40s for the most part?
For me, we've switched back and forth, but 35 to 45 to 50, I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of 20 years
over.
old, and there's a lot of 50-year-olds, but at the same time, I don't know, maybe just go hang out with your friends. You're missing out on a lot of opportunities as a young athlete. And one point, too, that I definitely want to make, this is probably my favorite point on this entire topic, is that you can do CrossFit your entire life. You can only play high school sports, high school football, high school baseball, high school whatever, for 4 years. That's it. That's all you get ever to play these sports.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's back and forth because CrossFit's awesome. I love CrossFit. This dude loves CrossFit. He owns a gym. But you need to experience the world in your own way. And so maybe that is complete CrossFit all the time. Great. Maybe it's a little bit of CrossFit, a little bit of sports. Great. Maybe it's sports, and maybe you find CrossFit later in life too.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I was. But
that's kind of how I was too. Well, and also, the big thing I don't want an athlete to come in and do is miss out on their opportunities to truly live a normal lifestyle through whatever age they want to go through versus just trying to go to the CrossFit Games as a 17-year-old. And then my biggest fear would be at 22, they absolutely hate it.
Yeah.
They don't like, and I'm not saying that's with everybody. I mean, look at these people who've come up through the teenage and whatever, but, how many of those teens do you really think still talk to their high school friends and aren't moving across the country to try to do this or that? And maybe that's what they want to do. So I'm not saying anything against it. I'm saying do more CrossFit. That's fine. I'm just saying at that age, you've really got to know what you want to do. If it's the CrossFit Games level, the teens level, where how good those teens are now, they're almost individual athletes. Look at Haley Adams. Look at Mallory O'Brien.
It is a
look at Justin
full-time
Medeiros.
job. It is a full-time job.
I mean, you work out in the morning, you go to school, you figure out how to get your fourth period off, you work out again, and then you go back to school, then you come at home and you work out again.
Right. And if that's the life you want to live, dude,
do
it. You're going to be the next Justin Medeiros. You're going to win the CrossFit Games. But it takes a lot of determination and to do that. I mean, we've been there. Would
it be worth it for you looking back? Let's say that you could be, and you're the CrossFit Games champion, and you did everything you could, and at 23, you became 24, you became the CrossFit Games champion, but you had to throw away years 13 through 18. Would it be worth it to miss all that?
Man, that is
no baseball, no football, no nothing.
I'm going to say that's a hard no, and the reason why is because that's like the Simone Biles of, kind of my thought here of she didn't do anything other than train for the Olympics, to be this Olympian, and missed out on so many opportunities. I met some of my best friends in college playing baseball. I met some of my, friends that I still talk to actually in high school from playing football and from playing baseball. So I've dug my tunnels of, meeting people through sports in so many different ways that I would say, no, it's not worth it to me, but that's just my personal opinion, I guess.
And another way you got to look at it is the money even right? Is it right? I mean, if the money was that good, guess what would happen? Matt Frazier would still be going at it.
That's a good point, amigo.
I mean, Matt Frazier would still be doing his thing, winning titles. He would have walked all over this year's title. Don't lie. He would have won every goddamn wad. He would have done it. If the money was that... I mean, he even said it in an interview. He's like, it'd have to be a ton of money for me to come back. And so I think the interviewer threw out, what about $5 million? And he laughed. He was like, yeah, right. You don't realize it, but... $275K after you take 30% out for taxes and then every other thing that comes out for whatever you got to do, it ends up not being all that much when you can start a regular job, start working, and start a family and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, you have to sacrifice everything in your entire life to do that. And as a young athlete, you don't know any different. So, whatever route you pursue, the only way that you can look back on it is time and other people's experiences. And so if you don't have these experiences now, you just have to kind of go off of what other people did. I think it's a tough one for me there. I'm gonna say no. I wouldn't trade it.
For me too, I would not. I would agree with you there. Not saying that you can't, but for me it would be a no.
Body image.
Yep.
Body image. Yes, we have to talk about body
Gonna
image.
have to.
So in the world that we live in, body image is a huge thing.
Huge.
Young kids. I mean, I have a 13-year-old stepdaughter right now. Body image is everything. She comes down and her hair is like a little bit off to the side. I'm like, your hair's awfully puffy today. She goes upstairs for 20 minutes and like fixes her hair, right?
And meanwhile, this girl is like model.
Oh, yeah.
Like gorgeous.
Good looking girl.
Young girl.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just silly stuff like that like little kids, you've been there. Everyone has thought about it, of course, but like CrossFit amplifies that just a little bit because everyone's working out together. It gets hot, it gets sweaty, your shirt's off. So like, wow, that person's super jacked. How come I'm not super jacked?
Yeah.
It takes time, so that's something that, I mean, what do you think about body image in the CrossFit community?
Oh, for sure. I think it's a huge thing. I can tell you from firsthand in my gym, I mean, obviously not going to name any names, but I can tell you this right now that regardless, a lot of people are going on extremely low calories for the intensity and the workouts they're doing to keep their body image. I would go as far as to say is they would rather get a lesser place at the CrossFit Games, being the top level athlete, get a lesser place at the CrossFit Games, all these sponsorships and all these other things, than they would to lose that body image and that perfect physique.
Sure.
Than to win the CrossFit Games.
Yep.
Now, obviously, the winner right now basically has both, but I mean, honestly, if you're counting calories all the time and you're obsessed with everything that goes in your body and you can't do this and that, I mean, it's already going to be a problem. And I'm not saying people have everybody has body dysmorphia. I'm not putting that hate on anybody, so calm down, even though you got that hate put on you a little bit, which is, I thought, a little bit unfair, but who knows? I'm not the guy to do that.
I don't take rest days, though, so.
You guys argue your own shit there. I ain't got no issues there. But I do truly believe that it is a little bit of a problem, and people don't talk about it enough. And it is a problem in CrossFit.
Why did you start working out?
Yeah.
That girl
called me fat.
Called him fat. So that's a little, like,
I know.
That is a young athlete right there.
I was 15 years old.
One stupid girl called him fat, and now this man is a freaking exercise guru. So things change your life for sure, and especially in the CrossFit world. So it can be an excellent thing. It can change you for the better. It can be a bad thing if you take it, in a negative light.
Or take it too far to the extreme.
Exactly right.
Where a lot of people have taken it.
And that's what we have to be careful of with young teen athletes, and really the best way to make sure that this doesn't happen, put a little bit of a barrier up, is to have an excellent coach and an excellent owner of a gym that is like, hey, this shit's out there, you got to be careful of it. So here you go, young athlete, figure it out.
Because you know what? You can't shelter them.
No.
They're going to see it.
No.
Everything's on Instagram. Everything's on... I mean, you can't do it anymore. Back in the day, when not information was so readily available, especially false information wasn't as readily available, you could kind of hide some of that stuff. But nowadays, you can't do it.
Can't do it.
You can't. It's impossible. So you have to teach them and bring them up the right way to be able to think, hey, you still look awesome. You are super, super young. You've got a lot of time to develop, but to go to an extreme of where I have to change my body type at 13, 14, 15, 16 years old while you're still developing and going through so many different things, your body's going through all these changes,
right?
That's asinine to me. To kind of start getting this wrapped up here, Joe, what do you think? Do you think that that teens should do CrossFit? Do you think they should do it competitively? Do you think they should do it as their sport? What do you think? What are your final thoughts?
So my wrap-up opinion here is that yes, I think teen athletes should do CrossFit, but I do not think that they should quit a sport that they love, whether it's volleyball or basketball or tennis or badminton or you name it, to now train to be a CrossFit Games athlete as a teen. I think that they go well together, they mesh well together, they help with strength and body awareness and things like that, but I don't think that you should quit what you're doing to now focus specifically on CrossFit. What about yourself? What do you think? Do you think that a young teen athlete should do CrossFit?
Yeah, 100%. I really do believe that, but I agree. I really would like to see them in different sports. I would like to see them hanging around their friends. I'm not saying everybody doesn't have friends that do. I'm not saying that at all. But I am saying that I do think that if you're that good at 15, then you're going to be that good and even better at 18.
That's a good point.
That's just the way it is.
That's a good point.
I also think that the gym owners have a responsibility to stop putting their kids in contracts. Stop putting people that are in teen programs and other things in contracts. That's why I run very little. I run no contracts for my teens, and I run actually very little contracts for my regular members anyways. If you don't want to be here, I don't want you here. Especially for teens, give them the flexibility to leave and come and go as they choose. That way, they don't ever feel stuck in anything either.
I love it.
Just from a gym owner's point of view.
So to wrap it up, if you have a teen, or if you've done CrossFit, or if you've done your workout today, or anything else that I think that you probably did today, you need to like this video, you need to subscribe, send it out to your teens and your buddies and your friends, get it out on social media, and we will hit you up next time.
My nose itched that entire video, and it still came out perfect.
We might just have to close this one out.
Give me a second. So do I think that the teen athlete should do CrossFit?
The teen athlete. Okay.
Don't do it. Don't you fucking.
Whoa, daddy. Stay as long as you can.
Seriously, you're not wrong.